Hello. Okay, we're losing some light, so I'm trying to mess with this a little bit. But I want to talk about homeschooling high school. So, as you know, my oldest is just 15, so we're just a little bit into high school. But I do have a lot of friends that have been down this path before, and I love to pick their brain. And so I'm here to share with you what I know so far. Okay. When you are looking at your child's education, it's a lot like what we talked about in the beginning. Look at that end goal. And so with high school, let's look at your child's end goal. Before that, I have to recommend a book. It's the Thomas Jefferson Education for Teens. I have it out in the camper. Sorry, I don't have it with me. But this book is phenomenal. I think all teens should read it, no matter if this is your homeschool philosophy or not. This book is fantastic, and it really helps your kids to look at their gifts and talents. I mean, even if you don't homeschool your teenagers, I would have them go through this book. So they need to look at their giftings and talents, and they have to ask their grandparents what gifts they see in them. They have to ask their siblings what they see in them. They have to ask their friends. Okay, just imagine if you would have had your grandparents speak into your life like that when you were a teenager about what gifts they saw in you, what talents they saw in you, and what they could imagine you doing with your life, right? That's powerful. That's so powerful. So this book is really about them finding their gifts and then and giving some ideas on taking charge of their own education and focusing on their future. There's this other lady that I really like, Thinking Tree Books, Fun School. Her name is Sarah with an H, I believe, Janice Brown. I love this lady. So I've actually not bought any of her curriculum yet because it's one of those things I really want my kids to pick out. I want them to see it and them to love it and to say, I want this. I don't really want to order it for them because I tend to order things for them and they don't like it and they don't use it, you know. I don't want that. I want them to have more control of their education. But if you read her stuff, it's just beautiful. And it's a lot in line with this Thomas Jefferson thing. And she says her goal for her kids, and she has 15 kids now. She just adopted 4 or 5. But she's graduated multiple kids. So her goal is by 13, they know what they want to do. And by 18, they're a master of it. Okay, that's pretty impressive, and that's pretty counter American culture, right? We're just like, it's your teen years, try it all out. But a lot of times when kids are in school, they're really busy with a certain things that they have to go through. They're being told this is what you have to spend your time on. But when you have the freedom to explore your interests and you've been doing that your whole life, you're kind of seeing what you love, right? And you're seeing it more from a younger age because you just have the time to try it out. So I don't know, her stuff is really beautiful to me. I really enjoy that. And those are my thoughts on homeschooling high school. Fun schooling. Jennifer, you're so awesome. Thank you. But her stuff is just beautiful. She uses it a lot. She had kids that were dyslexic, and she started doing these dyslexic games and made these. And her and her family, they're missionaries in the Ukraine. They're amazing. Like, really, you have to check out their family. But I love reading her stuff. And then the TJ Ed book is rad. Okay, so homeschooling teens. Those are some books I love, and that philosophy I really love is helping them to see what they really want to do. Like my oldest, really, she says she wants to be an artist, and she wants to be an independent business owner. So we're having her go through some business books. She helps me out with my business stuff. We listen to podcasts a lot. She's right there as my assistant in a lot of things, and that's how she earns her phone, is by working for me. And so then that's also a business expense for me. Her phone is a business tax write-off. Okay, there's a lot of good things there. I have a Facebook group called the Homeschooling Entrepreneur. So if you're into that kind of stuff, join me over there. We like to talk about that stuff there. So that's kind of my goals with her. Now, a lot of people homeschool high school very differently, just like every other type of homeschooling, right? There's like a million ways to do it. You can do it along, like a lot of my friends, they do co-credits with the college, like a community college that'll be in their area. And some people get to take, a couple of classes at the high school. It depends on what state you live in and their regulations. But I've found it's been really fun to watch my friends figure this out, and they pull from here and they pull from there and they build this beautiful thing. Now, what I think is super awesome about homeschooling high school is that you can make up your own classes, okay? So, as homeschoolers, we have the right to make our own transcripts and our own diplomas up for our kids. And so you have the full right to say to your children, before you graduate, I need you to meet these requirements. And they're whatever you decide, okay? I really think it'd be more powerful if you and your children decide on them together. But maybe you have a book that's really important to your family and you just think like financial literacy, right? Those kinds of things. The Richest Man in Babylon. Love that book. That's one that our kids are going to have to read that book before they graduate from our school. Some people I know, they have their kids do copy work, and they have to copy several books of the Bible before they can graduate. You know, you can make up your own requirements. But also, so when we talked earlier about looking to see your child's end goal, right? So that's where these other books came into play, helping them figure out their goal and then setting up their high school career for that. So let's say your child's, I'm here in Salt Lake. Let's say that your child's goal is to go to BYU. So then you would want to look at BYU's admission requirements, and then that should be the basics of your high school career for them, right? But you can make these things up kind of differently. So I really like HSLDA's. They have a thing for transcripts on there, and they teach you about that. I have a book. Oh, yay! I actually had that one right by me. So now for home in Montana's high school graduation requirements are 20 units of learning total. You have to have 4 units of language arts, 2 of math, 2 of social studies, 2 of science, 1 of health, 1 of arts, and 1 of a career technical education. Okay, the Carnegie scale for a credit, is 120 hours with an instructor. That's quite a lot. It really is, right? But you can do things a lot of different ways. There's also proficiency-based learning, which is an assessment of skills and knowledge. My sister went to a school in Washington called Evergreen State College that is really... It's interesting how they do their grading. The teachers and students sit down. I mean, at least this was 20 years ago. I don't know what they do today. But they would sit down and discuss their grades, and they would talk about them. A lot of my friends, they say homeschoolers should really only make A's. It's either you make an A or you redo, right? So if your kid isn't comprehending something, we have the privilege to be able to slow down and go at our own pace with them, right? And you think about effort, and if they're just a B might be necessary, but you can really, it's amazing the freedom we have and to really go at the child's own pace. Okay. Going back to the credits and stuff. Sorry, these are just my own personal notes that I was like, oh yeah. Okay, so 12 books can equal 1 literature credit. And I'm sure there's like a page number though too about that. So we concocted this class that we wanted Sophia to be able to get a literature, English credit, history credit, and maybe we probably won't do it art, but history, we could do science. We'll put geography, history, and English all in there together, right? And we built a class about women during wartime. And then we had a book list that she has to go through. And, she'll have some mapping stuff and geography, more in-depth questions and stuff like that. But you can really incorporate, reading the books, writing the papers, and cross off a couple things at the same exact time. And have it be about something that they're interested in. I heard this mom, I loved it. She was talking about, and I mean, okay, this is like, I had only like a first grader was my oldest kid, right? But I'm listening to this lady's podcast, and she was talking about her teenager that he was in love with war. Like, it was just really interested in him. So he got one of his history credits was on the Vietnam War, and he just read, and like, papers are worth a certain amount of credit. I don't have that written here. I thought I did, but I think it's like a 30-page paper equals a credit, but I feel like that's too much. Maybe it's smaller than that. I don't know offhand. So she had him read the books and then write a paper about the Vietnam War, and that counted as credit. And it was also his passion. And then he also did one about the Civil War for another history credit, you know? And so we really have the freedom, and our kids have the freedom to dive deep into their interests and cross off multiple classes at the same exact time. Like imagine if they wanted to write about the history of vaccines, right? So you could talk about, they could get deep into the science part of it, you know, maybe interview some people, like read several books, write this paper, and get some science, some history, and some English all at the same time. Okay. You know, and so different people have different things about high school, about what they wanted. So like, I wrote on here, the Dave Ramsey Foundations in Personal Finance would be a half a credit for economics or consumer math. So that's something that we're definitely going to do with our kids before they leave. You know, and there are great high school transcript tracking programs out there. I don't use them. I just keep a notebook. There's a homeschool mom in North Dakota. Oh, it's the Knights, and they don't sell online. You have to go to the North Dakota Homeschool Convention to get it. But if you start researching, there's many ways to keep track of credits, and there's many ways to just turn your life. I want our life to be a giant tax write-off. The same goes as our schooling. I want to make a way for all of our schooling to become credits for her, that she can figure out how to make her life and her interests to fill up her transcripts. So, okay. One large paper, 10 to 12 pages. I did have it written down here. So you can really, you know, find the things that are really important for you, and for you to have, for your kids to really have a strong base on when they leave the home, and have them write a paper on that. Have them really dive deep into that. And maybe it's something that at first they're like, I don't think that'd be interesting. But then they start reading it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, you know, and they've just found this passion. So you just never know what is going to spark interest in them. Also, I would say find amazing mentors for them, you know, and you want to really think about what all these people are teaching them. I'm really picky, but work ethic, that is really important to me. So I don't want my kids just going off working for anybody. But if we knew somebody really well, and we knew the things they'd be teaching and exposing our kids to, if we were pretty certain about that, and they had great work ethic and they had skills to teach my kids, man, I'm going to send my kids with them. I mean, we're going to figure out a way to put our curriculum around that, and whatever open days they have to go learn the skills that they want to learn, you know, and be mentored by other people. Because really, mom and dad, especially in those teen years, you know, mom and dad have influence, but we're starting to lose our influence, right? So I love mentors in high school, and those books we talked about in the beginning, I highly recommend. I'm trying to, I think I can give you guys, I'll put this in the notes. I'll take a picture. Ryan knows how to take a picture and scan this in, and I'll send this example of transcripts. And it even shows pretty in detail what their week schedule was like, and really helping our kids to get, you know, we want them to take control of their education, right? When they're high school level, they need to learn that self-control, that discipline, and that's what's going to help them in college, if that's what they choose, or just life, right? To say, this is what I'm doing, and then to do it. So thank you, Jennifer, for putting all those you're awesome, putting all the links for us. I appreciate it. And we've got a few more videos to do here today before my troops come back and it's too loud to make videos. But I'm going to check my notes and I'll be right back with you.